Hello, welcome. It's good to see everyone this Friday morning. Thank you so much for joining us this Friday before Thanksgiving week. I'm super excited about Thanksgiving. I've got to tell you, it's one of my favorites. All right. Well, we had one question that came in ahead of time, so I thought I would start there and then we can just kind of chat and see where everyone is and what's on your mind. There was a question regarding our Green Committee and add a little historical factor cultural update to our newsletter. And also a question about can we add some tips about positive well-being? And I really like this idea. And so, yes, we will start adding a little bit more in terms of what our efforts are for our school in terms of our Green Committee. We do have a Green Committee. We were certified as a green school. I believe that came through last year after about a year and a half of work. And then, and we certainly have some students here who are taking the lead on doing some things around the school for us to understand our conservation efforts and what we're doing in that regard. And I think in addition, to really focus in on our students' well-being and some tips for how we can all do that. I think that that is a really, really wonderful suggestion and one that's very much needed, particularly coming back in this very interesting year and are coming back as a community and really focused on how our students are doing as they move through the school year. So I really enjoyed both of those suggestions, and we'll certainly start adding those into our weekly messages and get something going there. And then the other piece or the other question that came in, I'll read the question: how can we take some of the weight off the school's shoulders to promote a more empathetic and inclusive appreciation for all walks of life and bring it back home? And I appreciated this question as well. I think we've done quite a bit here to look at social and emotional wellness in our school, starting with our focus in on our wellness periods each day, our RJ lessons, and we do a lot around our community circle, things of that nature to help promote wellness and to promote kindness and to promote just an overall community spirit and feel. And so, so we are starting to really dive into in terms of our community norms and how we work with one another. And I think that really what we continue to do is just to check in with our students and find out, how they're doing and what's on their mind and work through some of those difficult conversations in terms of what their connections are to each other and how they're working within our community. In terms of, taking the burden off, I see that every time we ask, our community answers and is very much aware of what's happening in our community. And so that is a very long way of saying that we are very much working towards making sure that our students understand we work in a culture of respect. And we model that, and we also promote that through our social and emotional learning as well. So in terms of, partnering with, I think we can work with it within the PTSA to see, but we also have great spaces there. The Holiday Helping Hands program is a great example of that, of how we partner and how we look at our community to ensure that we are respectful of each other and promoting a respectful and kind way that we work together. If you have any very specific suggestions, I'm happy to hear them and what may be helpful in this arena. I'd love to hear any suggestions you have about that. All right, the questions are now rolling in the chat, and you know me well enough now to know that sometimes I have a little issue with the chat and talking at the same time, but I'm going to try my best. And I have Nikki and Brad here who will help me. Okay, the first question: is the Wednesday before Thanksgiving considered a snow day or just a bonus day off? I am so excited to report it is a bonus day off, and it is not a snow day. Rabbi Kobe, I'm so excited by that because the county builds in additional days at the end of our school year that are beyond what the state requires. And so we were able to absorb this day without it being a snow day. So yay for us. So really enjoy it. Let's see. Are there any plans to teach financial literacy, college debt, graduate school debt, for et cetera, for 9th through 12th? Oh, another great question. Yes, there is a proposal in the works to add a financial literacy, I believe it's a half credit course for students. I think that's coming through MSE and also some, well, actually, I'll take that back. I think let's see if we can mute there. We're hearing our little doggy who wants to participate in our chat this morning. Thank you. Yes, there is a plan to look at that as a financial literacy half credit course. I did say that I think it's coming through MSDE, but I think it's a MCPS question. I don't think that it has been approved yet, but I've certainly been in on some curriculum updates that course is in discussion right now. We do have over here. So that's the T3 group down there. If you're able to mute yourself, that would be really helpful right now. Thank you. So yes, so I will keep you posted on when that has been added to the curriculum overall, but it is certainly in discussion. I'm not sure how long it would be before we see that addition. Was there any other question, Ms. Thomas, about that? All right. I heard from both students and teachers that many children are having a hard time in some of the classes. For example, math class, average is now being between 60 to 65% across a few periods. What is MCPS or the school doing to address this issue and ensure the grades do not affect college admissions? Yeah, I think, thank you for that question. We are looking at our data, our marking period 1 data. We disaggregated by departments, we disaggregated by grade level, a number of ways that we're looking at our data to see how students are doing. Math has been one of those hot topics all the time because I think the way in which the math is linear and it builds upon itself, and also, of course, the interruption of last year. We are looking at our school and in MCPS about what we need to work with our students in the math courses. I'm not aware of those averages, quite frankly, that the averages are now 60 to 65% across a few periods. That's not what I'm seeing. However, I am seeing, and we have a consistent question regarding math and how our students are achieving in math and working with our teachers and our RT to address it. Bottom line is that, we have really sent messages and we continue to send messages around students needing grace, being able to, as much as possible, that we have a curriculum that we must follow, but it's so important, especially this year and coming back, that we pause, that we make sure that students are getting those foundational concepts before moving on. And so I think that it's really important that we keep having those dialogues. We keep trying to understand how we connect students to their math courses better and to help them through this challenge. And it is a real challenge. Specifically, I think it's always helpful when students are going back to their teachers for support, asking those questions. On our side, we are doing a lot more in terms of checking for understanding and in the moment, making sure students are progressing and understanding what's happening. We're looking at our reteach, reassess policy to make sure that we're giving more opportunities for students to learn the concepts and to be able to demonstrate what they know if they haven't done well on a particular math problem, and really trying as best as we can to continue to navigate, our students and their learning and what this disruption and how that has had a particular effect on math. So if there are other pieces that you think we're missing or something else that we can do, we're certainly open to that. But we are hearing and feeling that math is a challenge, you know, in terms of just how our students are feeling and doing in math in general, because I think I don't know, it seems also that space where those foundational skills have to build at, where some of our other courses are iterative in nature, and students can get it in a different way. So we're working, we're learning, we're continuing to adapt and adjust based on, you know, our data that we're seeing in terms of our math and what they're and how our kids are doing. The next question, what is the policy for the number of days given to make up assignments, quizzes, et cetera, if a student has been out due to illness? The student has as many days as they're absent to make up the test or quiz. So if they're out for 3 days, they have 3 days. What we find sometimes happens is that teachers and, you know, students will try to make a quick, you know, sort of agreement of when they're going to make things up. And students get overwhelmed at times. So the policy is as many days as they are out, that's how long they have to make it up. I would strongly suggest in using our counselors. We talked about this in our well-being meeting on Wednesday with our counselors and administrators about helping students navigate, particularly if they're out for several days, and coming up with a plan with students so that they can make up any tests and quizzes. And also, if they're unable to make up a test and quiz in a particular amount of time, to talk to their teacher about when they're able to make it up and to do that communication. And also, if a teacher makes a recommendation, can you do it today? Say, no, actually I can't, because I have this plan and I'm going to get help here first, and then I can do it. Can I do it tomorrow or Wednesday? So just that, also open up that communication with the teacher about how they're doing after the illness and how they're able to come back and get their assignments. Let's see, as part of the Wednesday off, I heard it was because there weren't enough subs. Are you in a need of additional subs? Is this something, oh, if you would love to sub, yes, please do. There's quite a, there's quite a need for subs in MCPS. And if you go on you have to apply through MCPS first to become a sub. Then that will help us and MCPS in general. I would say though, we came up with a substitute plan for coverage because there is a shortage of subs. And I'm really excited to report that we're able to make sure that we have coverage in all of our classes. We've done some internal work in terms of lesson planning if teachers are out, and making sure that our colleagues are able to pick up. So we've tried to really address this issue of subs, but I would never turn down a sub. So if you're willing and able and you'd like to sub, please feel free to go through MCPS process to become a sub. I would love that, and we would appreciate that greatly. Okay, a lot of students are having a difficult time adjusting, going back to normal after 18 months. Yes, it doesn't seem that the curriculum is allowing for slower adjustments, and kids have been thrown back at full speed. And let's see, distancing ourselves, and it's difficult to reprogram our brains to get back to being around everyone. The extreme homework load, this is really stressful. What are we doing to help with this? Yeah, it is an ongoing question. How do we manage and how do we ensure that we are meeting students where they are after this pandemic? We made some very deliberate moves. We've never had an advisory period every day at the high school level. For us, that was very deliberate, in also showing that, you know, we need to have some changes in our schedule to accommodate where our students are coming back. We're very deliberate in, you know, providing more transition time between classes. We moved from 5 minutes to 6 minutes, you know, to signal to our entire community that while we're back, it is not back in the same way before pre-pandemic. And when we talk about curriculum, when we talk about, what are we doing in our classrooms, we are constantly and consistently promoting trying to find this pace that is appropriate for our learners. It's quite difficult because not every child, of course, is responding to the circumstances the same way. And so we have focused a lot on differentiation in the classroom. We focused a lot on how we are presenting material, how we were asking for, students to show what they know, pacing, and to make sure that we're able to address our learners and have some different ways of approaching a wide range of learners and their needs. And so we've done some things structurally, curriculum wise. We are working with our leaders and our teachers. I think that they have been slowing down. They have been really checking in with our students to make sure how they're doing. But truly, it is a partnership, right? I mean, even we have surveys at the end of the first marking period for students or for teachers to use to ask about the pace of the class, to ask about how the students are feeling and if homework is too much or too little. So we're really trying to get that student data feedback so that we can make adjustments as well. And I would still encourage that if you are having, you're concerned about your specific student and how they're doing and the pacing of the work, connect with us. We won't always know unless we're able to get that feedback, unless we're able to hear what you're seeing at home so that we get a complete picture. And then we can start to make an adjustments, and we do it constantly. And so, and we have supports in place here in the school to help with all of that. We have really compassionate teachers. It's just a matter of finding that right balance, that appropriate balance for our students so that they are supported and that they know how they can navigate. I think there's a related question related to post 18 months of school. What I worry about most is emotional, psychological aspect of socializing again. Yes, I know cases kids are having a bad time, feeling lonely, even at school, feeling teased, made fun of. What are counselors, schools doing for them? Get a sense of mental health and overall comfort at school. And again, yes, like I said, we've been deliberate in using our advisory, working through a restorative justice lens so that students are able to get to know each other. I'm constantly reminded that our kids have not had a sense of school community in this way and being together for a significant time. And so we are really being clear in terms of our norms, in terms of our practices, in terms of how we work together and making sure that, that we understand what aspects of a community, what that is, and what does that mean. Our counselors are also involved in that and delivering lessons and working with kids in groups, but also individually. We have a partner from Rockville, the city of Rockville comes in to do some mental health work with some of our students here on campus, which has been a tremendous addition. We also have our child psychologist who's also working through and working on some strategies for mindfulness. We'll be adding that very soon to do some more work around mindfulness with our students. And so we're really trying hard. I think that just like we were separated for a period of time, trying to continue to work through how we come back as a community and celebrate each other and respect one another and living in these spaces together. It's taking some work, quite frankly. We can't snap our fingers and everyone is coming back and having the same view of being back in school. Our youngest learners, they were not, they haven't been in a school since 7th grade. So there's a lot that we are trying to take a really solid approach in terms of our structures and also in terms of our supports to support our learners as we come back from this. Again, I would encourage you to do what you're doing, continue to talk to your students, reporting out when things are going really well and when things are, we need, to put an eye on something. We've tried really hard also to give more space. So at lunch while they're outside and having lunch outside, we also are having recess. We know that kids need time to run and play, and this structure has been so different than what they've experienced for the last 18 months. I think my answer is we just keep working at it because there isn't, a silver bullet. And there are lots of small and large areas and ways in which we work with our students and help bring them back and to make sure that they are healthy and thriving. And we certainly need all of our parents and guardians to help us with that as well, so that we understand what's happening there. How is the staffing shortage throughout MCPS being addressed going forward? There are some great initiatives to bring in more support staff. We're seeing paraeducators, our paraprofessionals, substitutes, of course, that MCPS is recruiting and doing some, and created a new office with an initiative to bringing in more talent and into our county. I know that all of our new teachers are supported with a consulting teacher that comes out and works individually and makes sure that they're being supported. And so there are quite a few ways in which the county is trying to support new staff members and really recruiting staff members. I know that I was going to a meeting and I passed Hungerford Drive and they were having a bus driver recruitment fair. So those efforts are ongoing and they continue. MCPS continues to want to attract talented staff members in all of our areas. And it's not just for a season, it's a year-long effort, or all the time effort, I should say, to recruit new staff members and the best talent for our students. Ms. Nopke, I think you had your hand up and there's a question in the chat. So if you want to come off mute, that'd be great.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well, how are you?
Good, I'm just trying to, there we go. Oh gosh. All right, sorry about that. Still not very fast at this. And I wanted to say also too, from the start, like, thank you so much for having these coffee chats. Like, I enjoy listening to you and hearing about your different plans. And it makes me so happy to know that my son is at Wooten. So I had two questions, and one within the context of, I completely appreciated MCPS hosting the Mental Health Awareness Week last week, and all the SSL opportunities that came with that. That was just amazing. And I watched a lot of the videos myself, so please convey that feedback. So my question is regarding substance abuse, and we saw in news reports yesterday that we hit a 100,000 number of deaths, caused by substance abuse. And I know a lot of that was influenced by COVID, but I think I was really naive coming into high school because I didn't realize how much exposure these kids, 14 and 15-year-olds, are having with alcohol, marijuana, edibles. And I'm hearing things about at football games, people coming high or drunk, and that they know it's happening on the premises. I can talk to my kid as a parent, and I hold the school is not responsible for what's happening in people's homes at parties and stuff. However, I wanted to find out what are the repercussions and what is MCPS doing about this when these things occur on the premises?
Thank you for that question. It's a great question. So consequence-wise, we are giving consequences when we have students who are on campus with vapes, when they have tobacco, alcohol, marijuana, consequence, any kind of product on them. It is very scary to me as a principal, to know that they have it and that their own well-being, but also they're sharing it. And so we take that very seriously, and we use the code of conduct to do the discipline piece for that. At the same time, we are an educational institution, so we're also teaching through those experiences. And so anytime we have a case of any kind of drug abuse, alcohol, any of those things, we are using our partners at SASCA, which is a screening assistance for adolescents. We are also ensuring that they're getting some proper help. And we're talking to parents about that. We're talking to the kids about that, and saying that part of our concern is that you have an unhealthy behavior here. Why is it? What is happening that you're using this? And a lot of things come forward in terms of them being stressed out or anxious, or, they started at a party somewhere and then they kept using, or, the social pressures of fitting in. And so we use that moment of what I tell the kids, this is going to be a really bad day, but we're going to work together to make tomorrow a better day. And certainly sharing that information with our parents and letting them know, what it is that we're concerned about. And so if we see a student using at a game or some sort of extracurricular event, we're removing them immediately. We're doing a self-search. If it's drug involved, we're calling our police partners to be involved in that. We're also calling the parents to make sure they're coming to pick up their child immediately, because there's a safety issue as well, that they're under the influence. The same applies during the school day. We always get our children checked out by the health room first to see where they are. We're talking to them about, what they have taken, why they have taken it. We're contacting parents and having them come in. And of course, there's a consequence. And we also tie to some sort of treatment. We are starting every year. We've always done a tobacco cessation program, but we've also done a marijuana one, because that's one of the things we see here. And so we started signups for that. We usually start in early November, actually, because the kids are coming in, they're settling in. We kind of now getting an understanding of what some of those concerns are. Excuse me. And so it's completely voluntary, it's completely confidential. But as administrators and counselors, we're talking to certain kids that we've had concerns with about it's time to do that, and to perhaps you want to think about coming to this program. And we've gotten very positive feedback about both our tobacco. Well, we started with tobacco, and many of the kids sitting in the tobacco program said, we really need marijuana. And so that's why they were there. So we always try to combine the consequence so that we're setting an example of, no, you won't be able to do this. And then the education piece that goes along with it.
And what is the responsibility of a student who catches another student abusing drugs, or a parent who's aware of a student that's not the parent of that student, right? Because I'm just trying to figure out that, as well as the right way to communicate. And I've looked this up because I felt like I needed to have that conversation and done a lot of research. But what does Wooten High School suggest, or MCPS suggest, to ensure that kids understand that this isn't just about fitting in, this is about a lifelong commitment to their health and their mental welfare? So if you could speak to that, that would be great.
Absolutely. I report it. We take reports from parents who will say, I overheard, and this is, I'm concerned about this student may have. And after that, we're investigating every one of those. We're going to follow up and to make sure we understand what's happening. We ask students to do the same thing. Our security staff, they are out on the floor checking bathrooms. And all we need is for them to say, we saw something in the bathroom, and keep walking. We don't need too much more information than that. We keep it confidential. We do not say, well, such and such, none of that. We just want the information so that we can respond. And so it is very important that we get the information and respond. Parties in the community are very, very challenging and different, right? Because, usually some of those events are taking place on a Friday and Saturday. We're not necessarily getting, that communication until a Monday morning. And it's not necessarily in our purview of what we can do. There are some partnerships with, Good Samaritan and turning pieces in and to report that there is an underage party and there's drinking or involved, that I think are very, very helpful. And I would suggest that is being reported as well in the moment that it's happening. But in terms of the school, if you report it, we're going to follow up on it and we're going to figure out, what's happening and then and act accordingly. You're welcome. All right, switching gears a bit, there is a question about some students not getting their papers back and graded on time. Yes, if that happens, if you could please first reach out to the teacher and say, I noticed that this hasn't come back, and or if you let us know administratively. I know that this year in particular, sometimes teachers are getting behind or something happens, but if you're noticing a pattern, if you just send us an email and let us know, then we can take care of it. All of the administrators are assigned departments, and we do state of the department meetings, and we are checking through those meetings with the department heads. We're checking grade books and doing all of that work. However, something may slip by us. And so if you just let us know the area, then we'll certainly research that a bit more and then see if we can make sure that we're addressing that concern. Thank you. Thank you for the shout out. We're going to keep up the good work as best as we can. I got to tell you, every morning I try to stand at the front of the door, and that just gives me so much life to see how the kids are coming in and just seeing what the tempo in the beat. You can tell a lot in the morning what kind of day we're going to have based on how the kids energetically come through the door. And so we're really trying here, and we love what we do. And I think that shows, and we're trying really hard to make sure we're able to address a very dynamic community and very dynamic circumstances at this time. All right, let's see, this tobacco, drug, alcohol issue, how big of an issue is it at Wooten? I would say it's an issue. We see a lot of vaping. I would say that's the thing we're seeing the most. And sometimes it's the marijuana, what is it called? I can't think of but the THC. Other times it's tobacco. Sometimes it doesn't have anything in it in terms of a chemical, but yet we are questioning, well, why are you vaping in the first place, and what is that causes concern. In terms of alcohol and use in our community, it has been big. My tenure started here with an accident that happened that killed 2 of our graduates, and alcohol and drugs were involved in that, and it was a party. And so, we do have I have concerns around tobacco and alcohol and drug use in our community, and longstanding. I think that we've become more aware. I think we've become more responsive in trying to understand how it works, and they're big topics and they're scary topics. And so I know we're partnering with the PTSA, I believe in the February or March, in an upcoming PTSA meeting to do some more work around what to look for, how to navigate, this concern around tobacco, drug, and alcohol use. And we're also going to do some more work around mental health as well. So I'm really excited for us to partner to be able to do that. But, there are a lot of influences out in our communities and for our children. And I don't ever want to be an alarmist, but I also think it's important to engage in those conversations, to ask your students about what they're doing, but also, who are your friends? How are your friends coping with this? Do you notice, are they asking you? And just listen and hear what what kinds of concerns they bring, and equipping them with, tools and strategies for how to get out of situations. My parents were always great. Says, you can make that phone call to us. I'm not going to ask any questions. Just say, come pick me up, and what are those codes that you all work out, as a family unit, to be able to, help in those peer pressure moments as well, right? Like there's a lot that's happening, and a lot that our kids can get their hands on. And so I think it's important to be proactive. I think it's important, if you have a suspicion or you're concerned about something, then to address it, because that's the only way we are able to move forward and really keep our kids, in a space that's healthy. Let's see, many parents are allowing drinking in homes. Yeah, I've heard this before in terms of, what's happening with some of the parties. And I think that there, again, it's one of those spaces where it's difficult and it's uncomfortable, because you want to have your kids participate, but knowing the information and knowing, what's happening, who's going to be home, is the alcohol there, all of those components in these social gatherings. I know parents who band together to say, if my kid's over my house, I'm here, here's what you can expect. Just to make sure that it's a safe environment for our students and for our kids. And again, really being able to set those ground rules and set the expectation for what's appropriate and what's not, and what their escape route is, if you will, if there's something there that they know that has broken the norm of what you've decided as a family. I think all of those pieces are so incredibly important. And I also think it's important to report it. I think that's the way you also see real change, is that if you're aware of an underage party, to be able to report it, because that it puts kids at significant risk when those things occur. Let's see, how are kids being educated in school about tobacco and health issues and tobacco health class? Yes, we do a lot around in health class around healthy habits and all of that. That's why I think that 10th grade health class, and that's also been expanded too. I believe the state has added an additional half credit for health for 9th grade students and moving forward. And again, I will confirm that, but I think that has been approved. But that health class covers an array of topics, and tobacco and alcohol use and all of that is really one of them. And they do a really good job of, again, getting into the mental health of this and getting into the physiological kind of aspects of body development when you're using alcohol, tobacco, all of those products. And we also do messaging at very specific and strategic times to make sure that we're also addressing, more, I guess, those community concerns, the vaping, and what's happening in our school with all of our students. And so we will do that through our advisory periods. Our counselors are also very much equipped with that as well. And so we try to do a comprehensive approach. We do target our 12th graders, that time between, prom and before they go away from college. That's a really challenging time for our kids and some of their behaviors. So really sending some messages about their responsibilities and their behaviors as we get closer to certain seasons that we know are really difficult. We try to be very timely and strategic about when we're sending some of those messages as well. Okay, let's see. And again, so there are any plans to teach kids how to avoid internet scams and fraud? Oh boy, yeah, that's a really great one. We do have some. Brad, did you want to jump in? I see you raising your hand there.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Only because this just came up recently. The college career class has taken on this project recently about teaching avoiding internet scams, but not only, but like driver license fraud, health fraud, credit card fraud. And they are putting together, the kids are, a lesson in one of our advisory classes in the near future to bring awareness to this fraud. And they just recently started putting posters around the school, and then they're going to connect it to one of our advisory lessons. So I just wanted to, it was perfect timing with that question and what we're doing in our building very shortly. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. Okay, there was another question in the chat, and it involves advisory and how, and I think that just how the kids are using advisory. We just sent out a survey, so thank you for this comment. We sent out a survey regarding advisory to our students, and we're collecting data from our students and from our staff. And so we're really trying, and I to give context to what I'm saying, sorry about that, is that sometimes the advisory period, some students are using it specific for one subject every time, as opposed to using it for wellness and to do other things. And so we're going to get that survey data at the end of this, when we come back from Thanksgiving, and see what adjustments we need to make to advisory so that we come back to this space of how it was intended. We wanted to do SEL lessons for 2 of the days, and we wanted to make sure that there was a space for wellness for the other days. So thank you for that comment. And I'll keep that in mind as we're moving forward and looking at our data around how advisory is being spent, by the fact that, you know, kids are having to spend it in that way, not necessarily because they're choosing to. So I understand that. Let's see, totally different subject, marching band. I'm sorry, I did not know that marching band was participating in this. However, if your student cannot miss their classes, it's voluntary. And so please know that if I can help navigate that circumstance, I can, but it cannot be mandatory because it's a school day. It's considered a field trip in essence. And so if your kiddo can't miss those classes, then they should not miss those classes, but we can talk and I can help navigate that. Okay. All right, I think, oh, there's a new message. Got it. Okay, yeah, I'll do some work on that, Rabbi Kobe, thank you. Is there any other questions? I think I got everything in the chat, but again, I don't always trust myself with the chat, so please unmute and let us know if there's anything else. Yes, we had a great season. It was so much fun to see all of our athletes in their season and their postseason. They did so well. It was awesome. And I think our last team got to the semifinals. It was volleyball, and we went to Hartford on Tuesday. Wow, I was saying it was last week, on Tuesday, to see them in their semifinals. And although they didn't win, I was just so impressed with the kids. Like it's just been amazing to watch them in the fall season and come back, and they're just so excited. And then we're getting geared up for winter season, and that should be great. Went down to see practice. I saw the boys basketball practice one day. I haven't seen wrestling or the girls yet, but we just have some great kids, and they're doing amazing things. So we always enjoy going to support them and seeing them in all their glory, whatever it is that they're doing. It's very important. All right. Is there anything else that we can chat about?
Did we talk about the grades question?
The grades question. I'm sorry. I think I missed it. Can you show me what it is? I apologize.
I can ask it live if you want.
Oh,
I just had asked, because I have a 9th grader, and so what is the communication of the messaging from Wooten in terms of not slacking off or not taking Q2 serious as Q1, because they're taking, I don't know if it's the average or the higher of the scores from the 2 to for their final semester grade that goes on their transcript.
Yes, so thank you for that question. We, through counseling, we work with our students so that they understand how the transcript is built and how they work, how they have to work between first quarter and second quarter. A lot of our students are really hip to this because a lot of them are using second quarter to push that grade to what they want it to be. But we certainly will use counselors and doing some lessons around the transcript to help them understand that semester computation and having them continue to work towards setting their goals and following through with that for second semester. I can get a more specific answer for you in terms of when our counselors will again meet with our freshmen and our sophomores to let them know, because you're absolutely right. We'll also I think we need to do an advisory lesson, Mr. Roner, since I'm not going to be here for a couple months. But I think we also need to do an advisory lesson because to your point, I don't think that it's been a while since the kids have not been in high school, so that they're not as aware of how that transcript works and how the first and the two quarters work together for the semester grade. So thank you for that. So we'll take a note and make sure that we also do and make sure we do a lesson around that.
And is it the average of the two quarters or the higher?
Brad, you want to answer? You can.
Yeah, sorry. It's really trend based. So for example, if a student gets marking period A or marking period 1 an A and then a marking period 2 a B, then it's a B semester grade. So, and then the opposite, if they get a B marking period 1 and a marking period 2, the trend is up, so they get an A. So, I think that again goes by what Ms. Bolden, I think we need to do an advisory lesson to kind of go over that and to just give that students the information and remind the upperclassmen about that. But it is mostly trend of how the marking period goes.
Yeah, because I'm not hearing that at all.
Okay. Yeah, we'll get to the kids and do a little bit of an advisory lesson. We do a reflection of first marking period and goal setting, but I think that aspect of it needs to be added to our lesson. And Ms. Black, I got your email and I will respond to you. I apologize for that. All right, well, in the moments we have remaining, I just want to, first of all, remind you that Mr. Roner, he's our principal intern this year, and he is so excited that he'll be taking over as of December 10th, right, Mr. Roner?
December 13th, Ms. Bolden, you still get a couple more days in there.
Okay, December 13th. And I will be, and he'll be principal. He'll be the principal intern here until January, the end of January. I will be going to Rachel Carson Elementary School and spending some time there. I'm so excited to be with the little darlings because I've spent my entire career in high school and I absolutely love high school. So this will be a good little space to go and see the little ones and remember how to tie a shoe and open a can of pudding and all of those other things that get involved in high school or in elementary school. Last time I went to Arcola Elementary School and I was reminded how there's some similarities between elementary and high school. It's not all that different. I'll be honest with you, but I want to bring it back to Mr. Roner. He is a great administrator and has a heart for students and has a very keen instructional lens. So I'm so excited that he's taking this journey and wanting to become a principal someday and being able to come to Wooten and to be principal intern at Wooten because it's a great place to learn. It's a great place to grow. And Mr. Roner has certainly demonstrated that he's ready to take this on. So that does mean, however, I will not see you for the month of December and January. There is a bit of a policy that the principal steps back so the intern can fully embrace the experience. So I just want to say thank you all so much for your continued support. You all are amazing. I'm grateful when I think about my Thanksgiving gratitude. It is to be able to be part of this beautiful community. I am wishing you a great, great Thanksgiving and a wonderful holiday season. And I will be back in late January, early February. And until then, I wish you just good health and just lots and lots of just happiness over this time. So I'll stick around and if there are any other questions, but with that, thank you all so much. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Bye. All right, Nikki. I just want to say happy Thanksgiving to you. I'm, you know, hope you have a great, great, great time. Hope you get some time away too.
Yes,
from work.
thank you.
All right.